Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I thought we had this one in the bag.
I totally agree with him. 180 is really, really high.
If we're able to figure that out, I think the candidate is in, which is crazy.
But now the candidate's ghosting everybody.
I don't know how I can say this, to be honest. Hello, and welcome back to yet again another Week in the Life video where we're kicking off 2022 together. As you saw from my last video, I was excited, I was energized, I was motivated than ever to start this brand new year off with you all on a great note. But unfortunately, on New Year's Day, I found out that I had COVID. It was absolutely horrible. It started off with fatigue, a tickling in my throat, and it just quickly evolved into the worst sore throat you can ever imagine. Horrible cough, flu-like symptoms. I was honestly bedridden for about 5 days, couldn't do anything, racking my brain and just telling myself, man, this is like the worst way to start the New Year's, but you got to think positive. And my priorities shifted everything from just getting better and just focus on getting better as fast as I possibly could. So a lot of liquids, a lot of soups, a lot of cough drops and medication. I'm slowly feeling better. I'm about 85% there, but we're flying back finally to home to DC in several hours from now. I'm gonna attempt to actually work a couple more hours. There's still a lot going on right now. And as you can see, I'm still in Vegas. We had to actually push back our flight a whole week just to make sure that we are negative and we're actually feeling well enough to travel. But at the same time, grateful to recuperate here on the West Coast. Nothing like beautiful sun and palm trees to help you kind of get back on the mend and the up and up, which I totally feel right now. So I hope you're all doing well, you're all staying safe and healthy. I can finally now get back into the right mindset and start to get excited and motivated about what we can accomplish together this week, this month, and this year, and get back on track and slowly ramp up to crushing deals and offers with you soon. But gonna do a couple hours of work here. I got a couple outstanding things that require my attention, and hopefully we'll see where today and this week goes. But just wanted to share with you that I'm alive, feeling better. COVID is no joke, but grateful that I can start to work again. Let's create some momentum and make some magic happen. This is what we've been taking for the past week. Got vitamin C, throat drops, Delsum. Whew, it's been rough. So anyway, if you've been watching for a while, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new here, you're excited about recruiting, or you're a recruiter or headhunter or talent acquisition right now, I welcome and thank you so much for coming in, tuning in. My name is Preston. I am a recruiter in the technology industry, and I shoot these videos to show you a week in the life of what I do every single day. I'm not perfect at all, just trying to be transparent and just always trying to get better in the art of recruiting to provide most values possible. So with that said, got a couple of things to do. Let's get this week started. I don't know if you remember from my previous video, but we also had a product designer that was late in stages with one of my fintech companies. Now, she got an offer last week from it, and now the company's just waiting to hear back from her final offer. Now, what happened was, and because I didn't shoot last week and I was completely sick, one update that I forgot to mention is that upon the conversations with the HR team, the candidate realized that the PTO days wasn't as robust as her current package where she's at right now in her current company. What happened is my fintech company for the longest time operated with an unlimited flexible vacation policy, and now it turns out that they somehow changed that to now a regular 2 weeks PTO policy, which puts them not competitive but way under sub-competitive to many other tech companies that are standing firm on unlimited or at least something 3 to 4 weeks plus. This was completely news to us, and this is a change that they made obviously pretty recently, but unfortunately it wasn't a change that my candidate liked. So she had a lot of concerns about that because she has unlimited vacation right now. She had unlimited vacation before. That's all she knows, and that's all she wants to stay at. And it's not really that of a demanding ask because most tech companies are doing something similar. So what I did is I was able to connect her again with her direct hiring manager and HR manager. They're able to really elaborate and just share with her that even though it's 2 weeks, like there's still a lot of flexibility, a lot of gray room for flexibility that she can take advantage of. And they went back and forth, but what happened was that what I thought was a small little question turned out to be a point of significant contention that would have eventually been or become a deal breaker for my candidate. So I actually just saw an email this morning from my candidate to my client saying that she would like to withdraw solely because her PTO benefits are way more robust at her current company than the offer. And this was shocking because when I spoke with the candidate, the designer, for the past several weeks, like she was super happy. She wasn't interviewing anywhere else. She was really happy with the offer and everything else. And this honestly like came out of last blue, and I had no idea this was that important for her. But then again, like 2 weeks is relatively short in the tech industry. So I'm kind of surprised why my client made that choice. So what I'm thinking is, I don't know how I can say this, to be honest. Like this is the first time where a client has a pretty like sub-average PTO policy relative to the industry, and the candidate is really focused on wanting something equivalent or better than what she currently has. And it's not like I can go back to my client saying, hey, my candidate would like to reconsider, but you have to change your entire PTO policy. I don't even know if I should even bring that up or how I should bring that up. But like, that's not something that they would do just for one candidate. So if you were me and you're in this situation, like what do you think you would do, or how would you approach this? So immediately, like the best way for me to operate this is, it's at the last stage, and at this point it's always better for the candidates to hear from the clients or companies directly. So I'm gonna do what I can to connect them, at least maybe with her hiring manager or someone above that can hopefully sell her again on the opportunity, answer any questions, and really just hopefully make this whole PTO thing not as big of a deal as possible. But it obviously is for my candidate that she's willing to walk away from everything else that she's really happy about because of this. So very, very shocked. Not the best way that I do want to start off a New Year's and a new week. I don't know what the chances of saving this. It's going to be a pretty big stretch, to be honest, just how I'm feeling about everything, but we'll see. Not really too confident about this kind of getting back alive, resuscitating, but I will do whatever I can and keep you updated on what we can do and how we can navigate the situation. But oh man, I thought we had this one in the bag. Everything looked great, but you just never know when something small like this would just pop up. And yeah, it also goes to show how important it is that if you're an agency recruiter, it's really important for you to be completely kept abreast of all the important things of your clients. Working with a lot of companies and clients, it's sometimes very difficult to stay on top of everything, especially if they never just inform you. So this has completely caught off left center. We definitely would have addressed this way earlier in the process. It's a shame that we're now dealing with this now at the offer stage when I thought everything was done. So lesson learned. We'll see what we can do, but not too confident. One more crazy update. So if you've been watching the past several videos, you would know that I'm working with a good friend who ended up becoming a founder, and he's working with us to find his first hire, which is like a super risky thing to do, especially because he doesn't have that much money to play with in terms of capital, and he has to make every dollar count. But we had a couple close calls in the beginning. Then we had one candidate who's been in process for now over 6 weeks. But the past like 2 to 3 weeks now have been conversations between my candidate and my client, just going back and forth. My client has worked at the big companies like the Ubers of the world. He's in process with other similar large established companies where he can have this cushy, massive salary with a really great RSU option plan on the back end. Overall, just an amazing opportunity where you can just live life groovy with a great financial package. And he's now considering, because we reached out to him, of changing that and thinking about joining an early stage startup where he could potentially be a founding team member, but be willing to give up on the short-term financial salary with the hopes of a big equity payout. So that's what we've been kind of really navigating and just helping with negotiations the past couple of weeks. Our company, our client offered him 150, then they offered him 1%. They went back and forth, and I think the client is now willing to offer them 2%, 150 salary, 2% being the first employee hire. I thought this would stop right here because I don't think my candidate would go for something like this, especially if he can kind of field other offers that are willing to pay him like 250 plus bonus, right? And I don't think like the taking on the added risk to be the first hire was something that would have made sense. I thought if my client was able to come up much higher on the salary to make it a lot more digestible, I think that'd be a lot easier for my candidate. but you know, by being the first hire and only raising $1 million, my client can't go that high. So 150 is the best that they can do. They're able to raise the equity 1%, which I think is really, really significant. Anything in the single digits is pretty solid. And what happened was that I was able to hear back from my client late last week, and again this morning, that he had another chat with the candidate. There was a period of like 4 or 5 days where he didn't talk to my candidate because of New Year's and holidays and everything and traveling. So we thought, you know, typically when you're in final stages interviewing, the longer time goes by without you hearing from the candidate, like the more rocky and unstable situation that could be. I never really had my hopes up or my confidence was really that high about this from the get-go, just because I didn't really think my candidate would have been happy enough with a 150 salary, 2% equity. But I just heard back from my client, the founder, and he's like, hey, I just talked to the candidate. We had a great chat. It looks like that he's in. He has like a couple terms that he wants me to check in with my lawyers. It seems like they're all related about equity, the structure, the vesting schedule. But he's like, I think they're all doable. If we're able to figure that out, I think the candidate is in, which is crazy because here I am. I literally just talked to you about the latest update for the product designer who withdrew. Here's another offer, which I'm pretty sure we were going to lose as well. And now I'm like, oh my God, we might not lose it after all, which would be great. Like, you know, after having a loss the first couple days of a brand new month and a brand new year, I could definitely use some good news. And this is definitely great news. But again, considering how much time has gone by, it's over 6 weeks. We're not going to celebrate too soon. He's going to check in with his attorneys, get everything on paper, and then we're only going to really celebrate until the candidate actually signs. But I have not anticipated this scenario going the way that it is right now, that the candidate is responding and sounding very, very positive and receptive. So now I'm going to reach out to my candidate, stay on top of them, navigate this man just very, very carefully, and hopefully that the client can do a good enough job in giving the candidate what he wants and making this happen. Finding a first hire for any company is tough. Most companies would use their own network. So the fact that my client is using a partner like us for his first hire is difficult. Like, we have to sell it, and it's just optically it looks really, really risky because there's no other employees. You're the only one. So that honestly scares a lot of people in a market that's just a lot more risk averse. So it'd be amazing to get this done. It'd be amazing for my client because once they lock this candidate in, finding the second, third, and fourth employees would be a lot easier just with the overall perceived risk of future employees. So we'll see what happens. This is so far good news. It's not completely positive, but I will take it. One loss, one pending positive win. I'll take it so far. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens here. All right, Vegas was fun. No more vacation. Time to go back home and start working.
Hello and happy Thursday, and we are back at home in our home office. Really happy to be back. As much as I love traveling and working at different locations, there's nothing like sitting at your simple, comfortable, familiar office space and hammering out some great work. It is Thursday, as you can imagine. I am still trying to get better. I still have a lot of congestion in my lungs, in my head, in my nose. So I really spent most of Tuesday and Wednesday just trying to rest it off and recuperate. I'm feeling a little bit better. I would say at the time of this filming, I'm about 70%. So hoping I just get better and better and better, just improve every single day. But 2 quick updates. Number 1, as you saw, we are entering the offer stage for my friend who became a client, who became a founder, who's looking to hire his first hire through us. As you've been seeing from the past couple of videos, it's been long overdue. It's been going on for 6+ weeks. As of this week, my client has been going back and forth with his attorneys to making sure that they can offer my candidate all the 3 things he's asking for. From my understanding, they're pretty technical, and most of them are revolving around the equity, how it's structured, and if he can also be able to kind of exit upon a successful exit of the company early, which is not something that you normally see. I talked to the founder, it sounded like it was not a big deal and they should be able to offer the candidate what he's looking for. So hoping if that goes well, there is a pretty decent chance the candidate might say yes. Again, as you know, with recruiting, anything can happen. I'm not gonna get my hopes up until everything is inked and signed. Number 2, as you also heard, we got an offer for a product designer for my FinTech client, and everything went well. The offer came out, the candidate chose the offer terms that she wants, and then she's like, oh my God, I need to get a better understanding of your benefits. At that time, I assumed, and this has been true since the first day I've been working with my FinTech client, their PTO vacation policy has been unlimited, which is generally the standard for a lot of tech companies. And then I heard that on the offer, it said that it's not unlimited, it's only 14 days, which was a huge point of concern for my candidate because the company she's working at right now and the company she worked at before only offered her unlimited, and that's all she wants as a bare minimum. For a lot of companies, people will be really happy to get 2 weeks or starting with 2 weeks. But with tech industries, with startups, we've been hearing a lot about companies using unlimited. Technically, what that means is as long as you perform well, you can take as many days off as possible. Of course, you can easily abuse the system, but people don't normally do that because they don't want to lose their jobs. So, but at the same time, the word unlimited does sound nice. It gives you some sort of calm and security, knowing that like if you have an emergency, if you have to travel, assuming everything's going well, you're in good order, you're working well, you can take whatever vacation or emergencies or family obligations that you can. But they ended up speaking, the candidate and the client, and then it didn't seem to have gone positive. After that, I got an email from the candidate late Tuesday night saying that she actually wants to choose to withdraw. That shocked me, that shocked my hiring manager. I tried to scramble the hiring managers, had them reach out to her, talk to her again. I even reached out to my candidate, but no one has heard from her since, which is not a good sign. I thought, the initial conversation with the candidate and client has gone well. The hiring manager said that she had a good conversation. She was able to really clarify a lot of concerns the candidate has, but somehow it just disintegrated and everything just started falling apart, where this really became a deal breaker when everything else looked great, from title, scope, team, to even the salary that we negotiated and went to bat for. So the issue is now it's Thursday. I haven't heard from the candidate. The company hasn't heard back from the candidate, even trying to reach out a couple times. Even though my candidate decides at the end of the day, if she's gonna walk away from this opportunity, that's totally fine. But ghosting generally is not a practice that I would encourage at all. It typically will blow back badly on the candidate, and you never know what's gonna happen. Like, even though if my candidate never chooses to work on my client, what happens if like my hiring manager of my client moves to another company? And then what happens if they cross paths again? My hiring manager will or not be too inclined to consider or take this candidate seriously in the future. Like, you just never know what's gonna happen. People can start talking, companies can start talking, and of course, her ghosting me, that doesn't help my relationship with the candidate. It doesn't allow us to do our job in helping to find other opportunities for her, let alone really fight for her with other companies that we work with. So it's a really unfortunate situation where we thought, number one, we had this in the bag, but now the candidate's ghosting everybody. And because it's ghosting, I can't help or fight for her in this situation. I don't know what to do. The company doesn't know what to do. And so it's just not a good place to be in. It's quite a pickle, in fact, and not too happy about that. So I'm gonna still try to reach out to my candidate, see if I can resuscitate the situation. The company will try to, but then they're obviously losing hope right now that like, hey, at this point, if she hasn't responded, she's not gonna respond. So my plan B is I'm gonna continue to do my best and try to find other designers to send them as soon as possible so that we can fill this role and get past this unfortunate disappointment of a situation and focus on other candidates that can kind of get the job done. So not good news, but still happy to be back on a Thursday. Got a lot to do. Even though I'm unwell and this is my first week back, we still had one interview today, about 3 yesterday. today, about 2 on Tuesday, and about 4 tomorrow on Friday. So momentum is slowly starting to pick up. My stress is also just up here right now, and on top of everything, I just have to scramble and reach out back to all my clients and really understand exactly what are their priority positions, what do I need to focus on in terms of like this week and this month short term, what other companies need help in terms of other positions, are there any brand new positions that are coming around the horizon that I need to be aware of so that I can allocate enough resources and time and energy into those. So it's a lot about syncing up with clients in the beginning of the year, really understanding what are the high priority positions, what are still open, what are closed, which positions has no pipeline, which positions has great pipeline, so I can focus on ones that need help. And then of course prioritize them in terms of like which positions I think I can make the most impact the fastest, which clients I think are the easiest to bill, get some good momentum with deals early on in the year. And then out of all the positions, where are the positions at in terms of which are faster in terms of getting response times, which are slower in response times, and then being able to kind of come up with a plan that I can stick with every day and every week and just hit through it systematically so that I can touch through all the main open positions and just rinse and repeat until we fill the pipelines, pack the interviews, get some offers, and get offers out, cranking and accepted. So far, so good. Happy to be back. A little bit tired, but still excited to finish this week off strong. All right, so it's almost about 4 p.m. here on Thursday, and I got some crazy news. I would say a couple months ago, we reconnected with a really cool kind of aviation on-demand, kind of an Uber of transportation that I initially engaged with to help them for their creative director role, the director partnerships role. And it sounds like I just got off the phone with my client. It sounds like my candidate had a final with them on Monday, and she told me that her and her team resoundingly loved him, and there's a good chance we're moving forward to an offer, which is absolutely fantastic. On the flip side, they were able to have internal discussions about the creative director role. It seems like they're gonna put that on pause, unfortunately, which stinks because I just did a huge push of that myself. So any candidate coming in, I either have to try to repitch them another job that could be also a good fit, or let them know that that position has been filled. But another silver lining is that she let me know that she recently had to let, unfortunately, someone go right before the holidays. It's an email CRM manager position, and she would love for me to fill that as soon as possible. So we got one position taken away, we got one potential offer and one brand new position. So I'm gonna actually focus on hitting that probably tomorrow, get some initial phone screen set up for next week. And finally, she also referred me to her colleague, a head of product at the company who's hiring a ton. So it's potentially another huge book of business and a lot of open positions coming in that I have the blessing to attack probably later next week and later this month. So far, it's been an incredibly busy year. One of my favorite pet startups needs my help to hiring 20 new jobs. We're still working with our ad tech company, a FINTECH company. We're working with companies all around New York, Boston, West Coast, and the South as well. So it's been really busy. This time of the year is usually very stressful. It's when I really want to just hunker down and make as much impact as I can and create as much momentum as I can. Beginning of the year is kind of like beginning of the day, kind of like beginning of the week. How you start it will show and determine how the rest of the year, the week or month goes. And for me personally, I just love to really make an effort so that we can kind of focus on momentum, getting these initial interview calls scheduled in, and just sending great people as fast and as much as we can to all of our companies who are hiring like crazy. Start of the year is always when companies refresh their budgets, companies are aggressively hiring, companies have really ambitious goals that they want to hit, and they're more open-minded than ever to work with partners like us, other recruiters, other agencies to help them get the job done. So it is a busy time. It's grateful to be busy at the start of a brand new year. I'm excited to just finish the rest of the day. I got 2 more calls and just sourcing probably for the next 3 to 4 hours today, just sitting on my butt doing the same thing over and over again. But gonna stay hydrated, and we'll keep you updated and see you in a bit. They loved you a lot. It was resoundingly really positive, which is fantastic. So super great job there, because I know that they're very selective.
Yeah, thank you. I was very excited to receive an offer from them earlier today. He called me a little earlier, and she gave me the whole spiel.
Oh, you got an offer. Okay, congratulations.
But yeah, I think we're just trying to nail down numbers right now, although it did come in a little lower than I expected. But I still have a couple of other things mid-flight, so I mean, there's time to like nail down all the details.
I don't exactly know the terms that kind of came out. I know that when you and I spoke, you said ideally you'd be looking for like 180 or higher. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Would you be able to share like what they came out with?
She came in at 150 with a 5K signing bonus, and the equity package looks pretty strong, but like it's hard for me to quantify that when the numbers aren't public yet.
I'm actually surprised that they came out with 150 because, you know, I've been working with these guys for quite some time. I know 180 is definitely well within the, kind of the reach there, so I'm not sure if there was some sort of disconnect.
It was just kind of surprising to me considering yesterday we were talking like the number was 165 to 175, and I still kind of said that I wanted to be closer to 180, 185. And then they're coming back with 150.
I'm as surprised as you are, but no worries. Like I know that they can definitely stretch for the right person, and I know that they were really impressed with you every single stage. So I'm glad I was able to connect with you and just kind of square things off. And let me reach out to them, see what we can do. But aside from that, how do you feel about everything? How do you feel about Ken and the team? Like, you're really excited about them?
Yeah. I really enjoyed talking to everyone. Everyone was very personable and seemed like they would be great coworkers.
Whoa. So I just spoke with an engineering candidate who I submitted to one of our favorite kind of HR tech clients. He actually breezed through every single interview stage. I meant to connect with him today just to do a process call, but then he told me that he just got verbal offer, which is crazy, great news. But they came out really, really low. They lowballed my candidate, and that's not a good thing to do, especially for engineering talent. And he's also in process with 3 other companies. One of them, he did a final on Monday. Another one, he's doing a final tomorrow. And another one, he's in mid stages. So a lot of competition going on, and I'm pretty sure they can all offer higher than what my client initially offered my candidate, which is 150, and he's ideally looking for 180. So not really sure exactly what's going on there. Previously, historically, my client was able to hit competitive or go much higher for the right person. So this is the lowest offer I've ever seen, and so this is quite surprising, but there's still a lot of time that I can fight and navigate this with. So I'm gonna reach out back to my client, see what we can do. I'm pretty sure we can get him up from 150 close to 180, if not hit that gap. I think they're gonna have to come out as strong as they can because these other offers will be most likely much higher than 150, if not closer to 180 or above 180, which is what he initially shot for. So it also seems like he has direct communication with my client, which is fantastic. So we're happy to kind of play an auxiliary kind of supporting role here in the situation. But my number one priority is get this number up as high as possible. So if I can jump on the phone with them later today or tomorrow, hopefully we can talk about it more. Yeah, so he told me that you guys moved forward to an offer and you've already spoke.
Yeah, sorry, I like not 100% on the protocol for that.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Meeting with you, I'm sorry if I should have called you first.
No, that's fine.
It seemed like, I know he came in lower than what he was hoping for, but we actually ended up giving him even more than what the bands are, but I know he's not like super pleased because it wasn't the numbers like we had originally spoke about.
Yeah, so like I just wanted to chat about that with you. I mean, aside from the numbers, like he's super pumped. You know, a couple things that we have to navigate because I'm sure he's conveyed with you, like he's in process with like 3 other companies, and the salary that they're going to come out with is most likely going to be much higher, definitely closer to what he was initially looking for or even beyond. So I just wanted to see what we can do here.
Really what it comes down to is just his experience. He's just way more mid-level than any of the other engineers. He'd be like the most junior back-end engineer that we'd have. I think we could definitely throw in like another 5K and sign on, so make it 10K and get him to like 155 with the 10K bonus.
It's insane. Like there are like engineers with 1 year of experience asking for like 150. You know what I mean?
That's unbelievable though. Like
everyone's going after the same talent. Companies are more hungry than ever to hire, especially in this crazy COVID market that we're in right now. So like there's a ridiculous premium for engineers across all levels. I totally agree with him. 180 is really, really high for someone, you know, with 3 to 4 years of professional experience. As outlandish as it sounds, it's really no longer outlandish now in this crazy market where the talent is still very, very limited, and all the companies are going after the same market, the same mid-level senior engineers more than ever, especially after the past like 16 months. And so because of that, like the engineering talent, if you're good, there's an extreme premium. It goes just beyond any rationale or logic. I've seen junior mid-level engineers command ridiculous salaries and companies paying them because they're desperate. They need heads in the office to help push forward a lot of the goals and the future development of the products. What was different here though is my client is actually incubated in a much larger tech company, and before in the early days their salary bands weren't really integrated or aligned with the salary bands of this greater org. And basically in the early days, if my client liked someone, they're able to just really go offer them exactly what they ask or more. And the reason why it's so much lower right now is now because they're now aligning their base with the other larger salary bands, and the mid-level unfortunately is kind of market to what it was before, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So it's really, really low now. I think that's gonna give them a much harder time to attract the right people. So I'm gonna still have to make sure like we can push to try to get them up and stretch as much as possible. But at the same time, I heard the reservations. Like they're like, hey, I don't think we'll be able to hit 180. He has 3 other offers that are pending. Instead of just offering something that won't be close to 180 now, let's just wait a little bit, see what the other offers are, and do our best to match it, because they know that at least interest-wise, my candidate is excited about my client. Really, really surprised, first of all, that the salary came in much lower than expected. Now I know why, because they have to now calibrate their salary bands to this greater, larger org that they're in, which is not ideal because that salary band is not fully calibrated or aligned with the current conditions of the market, so it's a little bit lower. But I still have a strong relationship with my client. I can really push them to try to get this up more. But at the same time, I'm just trying to be realistic. Like my candidate has about 4 years of experience. He's looking for at least 180. They think they might be able to get to 160, maybe 170 salary plus bonus. So it's still gonna be a tough sell because I think these other companies that my candidate's interviewing at, they're much bigger, and typically bigger companies offer really, really, really great salaries, just generally speaking. So if the salaries come out and they're just ridiculous, like 200 or above, I don't think there's really a chance my client has in getting this candidate. If the salaries come and they're maybe around that 180 mark or between 150 to 180, then I think my client has a shot. But another offer, but not a shoe-in, not easy. You know, just finding one engineer in this market just makes you feel like so on top of your game and just so proud of yourself. But you know, when an offer comes out with engineers, especially if it's not market or what they're looking for, it's going to be a tough sell, especially also the fact that my client wants people to come into the office when it's not fully remote. So it's going to be tough. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just have to do my best to maintain a strong relationship with my candidate, maintain a relationship with my client. Any offers that come in, I'm going to relay that to my client so that they can be abreast and they know exactly how to move forward. Offers coming out, offers not closing. We'll see what we can do. I want to just ask you, like, how do you feel about everything? You still excited and pumped about them?
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. I mean, this is it. I mean, if I get this, I 90% chance I'll accept it.
Are you like also interviewing with any other companies?
I am. However, this is definitely my top choice. Several things. It's travel. It's tech. It's innovative tech, right? I mean, this is a new platform that's sort of fairly new to market, right? And yeah, I mean, it's the fact that it's booming right now.
Happy to hear that. And then I know that when you and I spoke, you said you're ideally looking for kind of like 145, 150 or higher. Is that correct?
Yeah, right now I'm on 146 plus a 20K bonus potential. So yeah, I mean, obviously a bump up would be great. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I know that they were initially kind of targeting the 150 on salary for this. They do offer bonus, benefits, tons of growth, equity, all that great stuff. Happy Friday. Just got off the phone with my candidate who's interviewing with one of my amazing kind of transportation aviation clients, being considered for Director of Business Development. I heard back from my client yesterday that she wants to move forward. The team wants to move forward, possibly to an offer. I just did a final kind of process call, check in with him today. today to see where he stands. He is head over the moon excited about my opportunity. He is interviewing with one other company, but he ranks my client #1 in terms of across the board interest and just overall excitement, which is great. What they can offer, what he's looking for salary-wise, it is aligned. I'm just hoping that if an offer comes out, it's on the nail and they're not gonna lowball him. But this is a great situation to be in. Low competition, really good market offer, hopefully, and the excitement and general interest is there. Next steps would be just to kind of wait to see if she'll reach out to him to set up a phone call. I will also ping her to see what the timeline is for that. But this is not gonna be, hopefully, that difficult of a close. He basically told me that if he got an offer, assuming it's like good enough, he has 90% chance of saying yes. So there is still that 10% chance that something can go wrong or something can be a deal breaker, but I don't really see that happening right now. He also did mention that he's willing to move to Florida where the company's based out of, which is great. Like that they're definitely gonna prefer that over someone fully remote. Great Friday, I am feeling great. It's my first week back. It's also a short week because I flew back from Vegas early this week, and it's also a short week next week because it is the holiday weekend. But I have 10-12 calls today, got 4 interviews happening, got a client call I'm gonna hop on to in the next couple of hours. So everything's moving forward, really happy about that. Just wanna get this deal done. It could be a big one, and it will be the first deal with this brand new company, further cementing my relationship with them and off to a great year where I can help them with many other positions. So let's keep going. All right, it is about noon here on Friday. Just synced up with one of my favorite e-com clients who are currently going to hypergrowth here in New York. Just re-engage with them, see what the priorities are, picking up officially a head of product role. They're willing to pay someone about $2 to $225 on salary, which is solid, great commission potential here. And because they're in a direct consumer e-com space, ideally finding someone with a consumer facing background, e-com retail would be a plus. And of course, having experience managing other product managers would be a huge plus. So these are like the main things that we'll be focusing on coming to next week. And it seems like they're hiring 40 other roles. So hoping to kind of get this done as soon as possible so that once they're happy, everyone's happy, we can focus on other roles and just dig deeper across more and more departments at this current company and see just how we can help. But it's always great to pick up new roles on a Friday because we know exactly what to focus on next week. I'll probably be focusing this on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, re-pitching a bunch of people from our databases. And we also have similar other searches going on right now for directors to head of product with a similar background. So those will be the first people I'm gonna go through in my database just to see if we can find any other alignment with other people before we start new searches. But this could be a great high-level leadership role that we'd love to kind of take a challenge on. But either way, Friday's going well so far. Also heard back from my client who's been working with his attorneys all week about crafting and then just meeting and aligning with the terms that the candidate that I spoke about earlier this week is looking for in terms of the 150 to 2%. He's the first hire, and it seems like everything's going well. I just heard back from my client just earlier that he heard back from his attorneys. It seems like they're drafting the final touches of the offer, and they will be sending it out to my candidate today. So that's good news. The bad news is it's already Friday, so most likely if any negotiations or any further discussions need to take place, probably won't have time to do it today. We'll have to wait a whole weekend and then just to see where we are on Tuesday. And when an offer goes out, I just love to pounce on it, have a sense of urgency. And typically if a candidate's not a shoe-in or not really strong in terms of understanding what he or she wants, as more time that goes by gives them the opportunity to come up with more concerns, more obstacles, and just can complicate things a little bit more. So I'd rather just try to sort this out today, but because it's already midday on Friday and it's also a holiday weekend, don't think that's gonna happen. So just gonna have to learn to be patient and follow up with them on Monday. But I'm glad that everything is going well so far. The attorneys are happy, the client's happy, the founder's happy. So let's just hope that we can get this offer to my candidate and just get this done. All right, now is the time to finally end yet again another week. As I mentioned before, this is not the way that I planned on starting a brand new year. This felt like I had a clear plan and goal coming into it, but then everything just shook upside down when I got sick. Happy to say I'm slowly feeling better, but despite everything, we were still able to end the week with 3 potential open offers. The first one is with my friend, founder, who's looking to hire his first hire. The offer came out. It seems like things are going and progressing really well. Everything sounds very positive. The candidate at this point is responsive, which is really, really important. So I'm going to come into next week hoping that the discussions with the candidate and my client continue to go well. We're also having a potential offer for a director of business development for our Uber of Aviation client. Got a really, really good feedback from our client this week, and I think the official offer should be coming out early next week, fingers crossed. I think this offer compared to the first one has much higher chance of going through with little to no negotiations or complications. Finally, we also had a potential strong interest / offer with a software engineer with my HR client. The issue here is that my candidate is looking for a salary that is a little bit too high to justify for my client. They're willing to stretch, but they also know that to add further complications on top of that, he's also interviewing with 3 other companies, and even if my client comes out with an offer, my candidate still insists that he wants to see through the other interviews, which is never a really great place to be, because first of all, that means my client will have to wait much longer, at least a couple to several weeks, to figure out what my candidate actually wants, and most likely it's going to give the other competing companies an opportunity to come out with a much stronger offer. My client in the beginning was able to pay a lot more market, even above market for a lot of companies, which is why they're able to really move fast and hire quickly. But because they're now incubated within a much larger company, what happened over the past month or two is they're now aligning their comp bands with the comp bands of the current company. The issue here is that the comp bands for my current company are not really market. They're a little bit under market, especially for engineers, and they're not really understanding that engineering talent today requires a premium, and for good talent, the salaries are pretty crazy with what we're seeing out there. We're seeing junior people commanding ridiculous salaries. We're seeing even senior level people commanding crazy salaries. But everyone is going after the same talent. The supply is limited. The demand is going through the roof, especially now that this market is kind of coming into a brand new year. Everyone has brand new budgets. So it seems like my client is willing to be able to stretch a little bit, but not as much as I think to the range that it would make my candidate happy. My candidate's a little bit bummed that my client came out or was thinking about numbers that are much lower than what he's looking for. Again, he's looking for a 180 with only 4 years of experience. You tell me, is that crazy or not? In my opinion, if you were to ask me 2 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty high, especially if you're not a FANG company. But now in this market, we're seeing salaries in that range or higher. So I'm gonna continue to have to stay on top of this coming into next week and the week after, making sure that our relationship with our candidate remains strong and that we still have a strong relationship and communication with him despite interviewing with other companies. But either way, happy that I'm feeling better, happy that we have 3 offers, and happy to just start off a brand new year with brand new momentum. If you enjoyed this video, again, please consider liking, subscribing, clicking that bell. It really helps us to get motivated, get energized, and ultimately will also help me to recover over the weekend so that I can come over next week to really hit the ground running with you. Next week is also another short week because it is a holiday weekend coming up. So most likely we have a jam-packed Tuesday through Friday, and as much as I love shorter weeks, it just means the workload for each day comes up high because I still want to maintain the same level of productivity and momentum as a full 5-day week. If you enjoyed this video, you have any further questions, please consider reaching out, commenting below, or reaching out to me on Instagram. If you're a recruiter out there and you're a master in your market, you have a great track record, we're always looking to work or partner with other talent acquisition professionals out there in the States or around the world. At the end of the day, we all do the same thing. We all work so hard to provide the most value to the clients that we work with, to our candidates we work with, and I'm all about meeting and hearing and loving to just connect with other headhunters or recruiters out there, and just always fascinated with your story, how well you're doing, what market you're working, and seeing what other ways that we can work together. Recruiting as an industry is super competitive, like with any sales industries, but I feel like moving forward, if we can continue to elevate ourselves, elevate the game of recruiting, focus more on collaborating, partnering with each other instead of just competing and just fighting and heading butts, I think we can overall win collectively as an industry, as a profession, and provide just even more value to the people that we work with. But thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. I gotta just shut off right now.
focus on a couple outstanding emails, and just focus on my health and making sure that I do get better in the next couple of days so that next week we can kill it and crush it together. But happy January, happy 2022. Unfortunately, we had a little setback early this year, but it doesn't matter. As long as we get back up and keep showing up and keep being consistent, we can catch up and crush our goals together. So thank you again for watching. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.